The Yankees have a massive problem right now, and honestly, I don't know how much longer they could keep getting away with it because this offense has completely fallen apart, and it's gotten to the point where you can't just blame Aaron Judge being injured anymore. Judge has been out for months. Stanton has been out since April. Bellinger went down. Jazz Chisholm has been one of the biggest disappointments on the entire team. Ben Rice has completely cooled off, and somehow the Yankees are still trying to win games by scoring 2 or 3 runs and hoping their pitching bails them out. And here's the scary part. The Yankees have been doing this for years. Every single time we've seen Aaron Judge get hurt, the offense just seems to collapse. Also, every summer, this team just goes through some of the worst versions of the same slump. And now we're sitting here in August watching it happen again. The difference this time is that the Yankees might actually have enough talent coming back to save themselves. Bellinger is potentially days away. They're saying he could play this weekend. Stanton is finally running the bases. Judge has finally started baseball activities, whatever that means. Rodon's almost back. But can the Yankees survive long enough for all of them to return? Because right now, this isn't just a team missing Aaron Judge. This is an offense that looks completely lost. The Yankees just barely avoided getting swept by the Blue Jays, and honestly, I think that game perfectly sums up what has happened to this offense. They won 4-3 in 10 innings today, which obviously is great. A win is a win. But they needed a Ben Rice home run in the 10th just to escape Toronto with one win in the series. The previous 2 games, they scored 1 run in each. And Saturday was especially ugly. 4 hits, 1 run, and another really good start from the pitching staff wasted because the offense just couldn't do anything. This is becoming a massive problem for the Yankees, and at this point, I don't think you could talk about it without talking about Aaron Judge because this has happened before. It feels like every time Aaron Judge gets hurt, the Yankees offense completely changes, and eventually the entire team starts spiraling. And before anybody says, well, obviously losing Aaron Judge is going to hurt. Yeah, obviously. Nobody is expecting the Yankees to replace Aaron Judge 1-for-1, but the problem is that they haven't even come close to replacing the production around him either. Judge has been out since May 31st with a stress fracture in his right rib, and since he went down, the Yankees have averaged just 3.3 runs per game. Since the All-Star break, their 636 OPS is the second worst mark in baseball. And this isn't just a Judge problem, it's the entire lineup hasn't done enough problem because look at who else is missing. Cody Bellinger's on the injured list, Giancarlo Stanton is on the injured list. And then you have Jazz Chisholm Jr., who's supposed to be one of the guys who could actually help carry this lineup when Judge wasn't there. And Jazz has just been pretty bad. He actually admitted it himself recently. He basically said his season sucks. And yeah, I don't think anybody watching the Yankees is going to argue with him. Jazz is hitting around 217 with a 692 OPS through 109 games this season. And one of the biggest problems has been his inability to hit four-seam fastballs. Last year, he slugged .548 against four-seamers. This year, he's hitting just .187 against them with a .309 slugging percentage, and his -11 run value against four-seam fastballs is one of the worst marks in baseball. So pitchers have figured out something that worked against him, and Jazz hasn't really found the answer yet. And that's a huge problem for the Yankees because this was supposed to be the year where Jazz took another step forward. I mean, it's his contract year, so I feel bad. Instead, he's been inconsistent at the plate. He's had some defensive issues. There have been base running mistakes, and he just hasn't had that extended stretch where you think, okay, this is the Jazz Chisholm we traded for. He'll have a big game here and there. He'll hit a home run. He'll steal base. He'll do something that reminds you why the Yankees love the talent, but then he'll just disappear again. Aaron Boone even acknowledged recently that Jazz hasn't really put together a significant hot streak this season. And that's exactly what the Yankees need from him right now or from anybody. They don't need one good game. They need him to actually get hot for a few weeks because somebody has to do something while Judge is gone, and right now, nobody has really stepped into that role. Even Ben Rice, who has been one of the biggest reasons this offense isn't completely dead, has hit a massive wall. Before Saturday, Rice was hitting just 130 with a 494 OPS over his previous 21 games. Over his previous 46 games, he was hitting 193 with the 694 OPS. And this is a guy who's already hit 33 home runs this season, and he was an all-star, so it's not like Rice suddenly forgot how to hit. He's just being asked to do way more than anybody expected him to do, and pitchers are obviously treating him differently now that Judge isn't behind him. Today was a perfect example. Rice went hitless through his first 4 at-bats. He made a brutal error in the 9th inning that allowed Toronto to tie the game, and then he came back in the 10th and hit a 438-foot go-ahead home run. That's the kind of game that basically explains the entire Yankees offense right now. And we don't even have to get into how horrible they are in extra innings, so getting that win today was huge. They're asking this young player who's already carrying a huge offensive load to be the hero every single night, and eventually it's going to wear you down. Then you look around the lineup, and there are just too many guys who haven't done enough. Trent Grisham has had enormous moments and has been one of the better high-leverage hitters on the team, but he's not somebody you can realistically expect to replace Judge's overall production. I understand not anyone in the league could really do that, but Yeah, I don't know. Heliot Ramos and Luis Garcia Jr. were brought in to help after the trade deadline, but they haven't immediately transformed the lineup. Spencer Jones has shown some really encouraging flashes, and George Lombard Jr. has been one of the more exciting things to happen to the team recently. But you just can't expect two young players to walk into the middle of a playoff race and fix an entire offense. That's not fair to them, and honestly, that's what makes this situation so frustrating because the Yankees have a really good pitching staff. Cam Schlittler has been outstanding. He might win the Cy Young. Max Fried has been excellent. Ryan Weathers just went 7 in the third innings and allowed 1 run today. He's been a very hot pitcher down the stretch here. Carlos Rodon is going to be coming back here soon. Garrett Cole has been solid his last few starts. I mean, the pitching has done its job. This is easily one of the best, if not the best staffs in baseball, especially when they're healthy. But there have just been so many games where the offense gives them absolutely nothing to work with. And this is where the Boone, June, swoon conversations come back because Yankees fans have been doing this every summer for as long as I could remember under Aaron Boone. We joke about it, the collapses every single summer, whatever you want to call it. The pattern is real enough that fans immediately recognize it when it starts happening. And now we're just watching it happen again. The difference this time is that Aaron Judge is sitting at home, and there's actually some historical context here that makes the Judge part really interesting. From 2020 through 2025, the Yankees were playing at a roughly 94 win pace when Judge was in the lineup and a 76 win pace when he wasn't. That's an enormous difference for one player. So this isn't just Yankees fans imagining that this team completely changes without him. The Yankees really have been dramatically better with Aaron Judge on the field over a very large sample. Now, there's an important counterexample. In 2019, Judge missed 60 games and the Yankees went 42-18 without him. So it's not like the Yankees are mathematically doomed every time Judge gets hurt. That team had a ridiculous amount of depth and a completely different roster in 2019. But over the more recent Judge era, the dependence on him has become pretty obvious. And you could obviously say 2019 had those juice balls, so a lot of Yankees players were having, some pretty good home run years out of the extraordinary. But, they're missing Judge, Stanton, and Bellinger at the same time. You really can't expect anything from this offense with them gone, but you would just hope they could just put together some games to where when their pitcher goes 8 innings, 1 earned run, like they're winning those games easily, and it's just not happening. That's like over 1,000 career home runs sitting on the injury list between those 3 guys. But, there are some good news. Bellinger is the closest. He suffered a grade 2 left hamstring strain on July 25th, and today Aaron Boone said he's scheduled to begin a rehab assignment Tuesday with AAA Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. The plan is for him to play 2 rehab games, and if everything goes well, he could potentially be activated for the Yankees weekend series against Toronto and the Bronx. So we're talking about possibly this upcoming weekend, which is huge. Bellinger was hitting .259 with 11 home runs, 53 RBIs, and 55 walks before the injury. And even if he's not hitting like an MVP, just getting another legitimate middle-of-the-order bat back into this lineup would make a massive difference. Then there's Stanton. Stanton has been out since late April with a right calf strain. He's been hitting. He's taken live batting practice, and as of yesterday, he had progressed to running the bases, which is huge for him. That's a pretty significant step based on his injury. But Boone still doesn't have a firm timeline for when the next stage of his rehab is, so I wouldn't put a specific return date on Stanton yet. The Yankees list him as possibly returning in August, but he's clearly behind Bellinger in the process right now. And then there's Judge. This is the one everybody's waiting for. Judge finally took a significant step forward Friday by playing catch for the first time since the injury. He was also cleared for light running and upper body work after an August 5th scan showed sufficient healing. So here's the part that's really important. Judge has not swung a bat since May 31st, so even though he's finally doing baseball activities again, there are still a lot of steps between playing catch and walking into Yankee Stadium and hitting in a major league game. The Yankees are optimistic he'll return this season. I mean, when are the Yankees not optimistic about any injury? Judge is optimistic, Boone's optimistic, but there's still no firm return date. They just think he's going to come back at some point in September. And if somebody tells you Aaron Judge is definitely coming back on a specific date right now, they're definitely guessing. So we're just hoping for the best. The Yankees' own injury report lists August as a possibility, but with the amount of time he's been away and the fact that he hasn't even started hitting yet, I wouldn't be shocked if this gets pushed into September. I'm thinking like 2 or 3 weeks before the season ends. So I'd rather them take their time, because if you're going to bring Aaron Judge back, you need Aaron Judge. You don't need 60% of Aaron Judge for 2 weeks before another injury knocks him out. The Yankees are at a point where they should make the playoffs, and they need him to go on a World Series run. So get him healthy, get him swinging, get him running, get him ready to play, because the Yankees have bigger problems than just needing their captain back. And there are some other important injury updates too. Carlos Rodon is extremely close. He threw 58 pitches over 4 1/3 scoreless innings with 7 strikeouts for AA Somerset on August 13th. And the Yankees are deciding whether his next outing Tuesday will actually come in the major leagues or whether he'll make another rehab start. So he could be back very soon. Luis Heel is also progressing. He threw 2 scoreless innings for High A Hudson Valley on Saturday, and the Yankees are looking at August or September for him. The interesting part is that he could potentially be used out of the bullpen when he returns rather than immediately being thrown back into a starter's workload, which I actually think is great. Clark Schmidt, who's been out for a while, has resumed playing catch after experiencing forearm cramping during a live batting practice session. The Yankees are preparing him for a bullpen role as well, since, this starting rotation is stacked when it's healthy, and he still needs to get back on the mound before we know exactly where he stands. And then there's a few other minor league prospects that probably aren't going to make their debut this season that are injured. But basically, the Yankees are waiting on like half of a hospital wing to come back right now. But seriously, there's a very real scenario where this roster looks completely different in September. And you're just like looking at a completely different team. This team we're watching right now is hopefully not going to be the team that we're charting out in October. But imagine this lineup with Bellinger back, Stanton back, Judge back. And then Rodon back in the rotation, potentially Gill and Schmidt contributing to in bullpen role or starts where we need them towards the end of the season. So that's just like a completely different team. And then the Yankees won't have to rely on Ben Rice and all of these guys to put up big numbers. And they'll have a lot more protection in the lineup, which is a lot of the value that Aaron Judge provides when he's in there. So the problem is that they just have to survive until then. They're 69-55 right now. They're still in a playoff position. They're only 5.5 games behind Tampa after today's win. So yeah, the season isn't over or anything. This should be a team that easily gets into the playoffs, especially with all the players returning. But you can't keep playing like this offensively and assume you're going to be fine, because Judge might be back in 3 weeks. He might not come back. You just don't know what's going to happen. So the Yankees have to keep themselves within striking distance if they want to win the division. Obviously, you have a ton of teams in the wild card behind them, but they have a decent lead there, other than the Red Sox, who are a couple games behind them. Because if they lose another 10 games before these guys return, suddenly the comeback isn't going to matter nearly as much. You just want to make sure that they're playing home games in the playoffs, whether they could squeak out the division or just figure something out. But yeah, I feel like this needed a video. The Yankees have been one of the worst offensive teams in the league since Aaron Judge has been out, and it's just unacceptable, and it's a boring product to watch. I hope we look back at some of these lineups during the summer when this team wins the World Series and laugh, because it's kind of ridiculous, some of these lineups we've been putting out. But yeah, I'm obviously biased on that. I'm rooting for the best. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, especially those who aren't Yankees fans. I'd love to see what you think about this team, and especially what you think they look like going into October, because if they do get all these pieces back and have like a very good slugging lineup again, this pitching staff has been outstanding this year. So we'll love to get feedback in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.